There's still some good news following SMU's loss to Baylor, and it's that the college football playoff is still in play for the Mustangs.
You are Locked On SMU, your daily podcast on the SMU Mustangs, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Locked On SMU on a Tuesday. Almost forgot what day it was. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. Thank you for listening to us as your first listen. Thanks for making us part of your day as well. Our episode today is brought to you by FanDuel. Football season is here. Visit the FanDuel app today and start planning your futures bets now. Coming up on today's show, we will react to SMU being dropped completely from the AP Top 25, and we'll get our first look at what I think the vibe and the mindset should be for this weekend's game against Missouri State. I'm Grayson Singleton. Thank you so much for joining us here. Subscribe to the channel, click that notification bell. Also check us out on the audio side, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts. Okay, the college football playoff is still in play for SMU, but the road is, albeit tougher. And how do I know that? Because we went through this last year. Remember this last year? SMU lost a 3-point game to BYU last year. This time last year, nobody thought there was a shred of a chance that SMU was going to make an appearance in the college football playoff. And obviously, after that loss to BYU, SMU finds its quarterback and things go on. Well, that wrinkle has already been ironed out. And this offense is going to put up points. They have an offensive line that can hold up. They've got a creative play caller who can design a good run game and can do some window dressing to get guys open downfield. And the quarterback is just going to continue to improve. And also, by the way, I think the offensive line can continue to improve. You're going to get Jordan Hudson back at some point. We don't know when that is going to be. But you have an excellent cast of characters around the quarterback to where the offense is going to be able to put up points all season long. But the path back to the SEC, the college football playoff, there are so many abbreviations in college football. The path back to the college football playoff has always run through the ACC championship game. Whether SMU got there and won it or not, the Mustangs were not going to get back to the college football playoff and not be involved in the ACC championship game. That was never going to happen. There are not going to be 3 ACC teams in the college football playoff, especially now with the way that Clemson hasn't really looked very great. Florida State, we'll see. But SMU with the early loss to Baylor, that will knock them out if they're not in the ACC championship game. So the road back always ran through getting back to the conference title game, which means SMU's playoff chances are very much still alive. Now, your easiest path to doing that is winning the ACC championship game, but let's say they don't. If you run the table in the regular season, if you win out the rest of your schedule, this is what you will likely have. Barring some catastrophic fall off, you will have beaten a top 12 Clemson team. Barring the same set of circumstances, you will have beaten a top 10 Miami team. And you would have gotten back to the conference championship game at 11-1. Whether you win that or lose that, that should be good enough to get you into the college football playoff. Now, if you're on the fringe with an SEC team that had a really tough schedule, like, say, Oklahoma, because Oklahoma, in terms of when they start their conference play, every team on Oklahoma's SEC schedule is ranked right now. So their resume would look better. So it all is going to depend upon who you are on the fringes with. But if you win out the regular season and get back to the conference title game, you are in excellent shape, which means the road back to the college football playoff has always run through conference play. Now, does that go out the window if you lose to TCU in a couple weeks? Probably. Now, at that point, you have to win the ACC championship game. But if you beat TCU and you run the table through the conference slate, SMU should be in a decent enough spot. Because think about it this way. Miami, preseason top 10. Clemson, preseason for Final Four for a lot of people. Preseason national champion for a lot of people. Preseason gonna be in the national championship. Like those three scenarios, national champion, national runner-up, Final Four, encompasses about 3/4 of the college football media. So you're looking at a team that was expected to be there when it was all said and done, and a champion was crowned one way or another. So those are the two teams you would have knocked off if you run the table through the rest of the regular season. SMU's playoff chances by no means are dead. Now, the deficiencies that they showed against Baylor, do they lend you to believe that, oh, well, maybe we won't beat Miami, maybe we won't beat Clemson? Sure. And the biggest hurdle, I think, at this point in time is Miami. They're one of the most physical teams in the country. They've got excellent dynamic receivers and a quarterback who, once he gets around receivers who can catch the ball, actually looks like and reminds us why we thought he would be the number one pick in this past year's draft. That was Cam Ward. So Miami right now looks like the other hurdle. What's the scary part about Clemson is though they look out of sync on offense now, remember, SMU gets Clemson in the middle of October. It'll be 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks into conference play when SMU gets Clemson. So with that said, and with that as the backdrop, Clemson could have ironed out its wrinkles offensively. That is entirely possible. But the scenarios are there. The scenarios are absolutely there for SMU to do a couple of things. Number one, get back healthy. You got to make sure you do that. Number two, can this cornerback room take some steps? Can they take some steps? Do they need to be great? Do they need to be excellent? I don't even know if they have potential to be that this year. But can it take some steps to where it's not getting picked apart? Also, this too. Colin Rogers, I do not think, will duplicate a performance like he had on Saturday. So that'll at least get you 6 more points. All right. And then lastly, Scott Simons, I don't think he's going to sit back. This was a dude that coming into the season was pegged as a top 10 defensive coordinator in the entire land. I don't think he's going to duplicate where I'm just not ever going to come after Sawyer Robertson. Like, I don't think he's going to do that. I think he may not start blitzing a whole heck of a lot, but he'll come after guys. I think eventually they're going to come after guys and force them to beat him with some heightened level of pressure. So there are deficiencies that SMU showed against Baylor. A lot of them are correctable, and a lot of them can be progressed. Kicking, the way Scott Simons called the game, that can be corrected. Obviously, you got to get healthy, and the corner room can take steps to being better. Especially if Deuce Harmon takes steps to being better than he was. Now you've got a pretty good number one, and then if everybody else gets better, now you've got a decent enough complement to at least hang. And also, I'll tell you this. There's not going to be a whole lot of teams with a guy who throws the ball as pure as Sawyer Robertson with the level of receivers that Sawyer Robertson has at his disposal. That's not going to be every team in the ACC. It's just not. So, even though this loss sucked, even though for a lot of you this thing really hurts to your soul, the chances to get back to the college football playoff, did they take a hit? Yes, they did, especially if you had to try to do it as an at-large. But the road back to the college football playoff always ran through SMU getting back to the ACC championship game. Obviously, that road hasn't started, and when it does, I'm still confident that they could possibly do it, particularly because Clemson looks a little bit questionable, but you're going to have to figure some stuff out if you want to hold serve at home and beat the Canes. All right, coming up next, SMU is now unranked. They have been dropped entirely from the top 25. The margin for error has gotten a little bit slimmer. We'll talk about that on the other side. Keep it here on Locked On SMU. Time to fuel up and turn it up with 5-hour energy transfusion. This grape, ginger, and lime flavored shot brings the iconic taste of golf course favorite to a non-alcoholic boost. Perfect for sinking birdies or making great memories with friends, it's a hole-in-one for your energy game. Whether you're out on the course or just need a little extra push to power through your day, 5-hour energy transfusion delivers the clubhouse flavor you love without ever leaving the green. Has anyone in your golf group ever tried to pull off some ridiculous, crazy bet, a crazy wager on a hole or on a shot? How'd it go down? I bet if your energy levels were up, you might be able to pay off that bet. Golf is all about good times with good people and good flavors. The grape ginger lime flavor of 5-hour energy transfusion gives you the best parts of your clubhouse go-to without ever leaving the course or chasing down a bev cart. Now you can amp up the fun even more. Just buy, snap, and enter for a chance to win a dream golf trip for 2 to any golf tournament in the United States of America. Tee up that trip. Visit 5hewin.com for full rules and entry. No purchase necessary, excludes the Masters tournament, and it ends October 31st, 2025. We're also brought to you today by FanDuel. The NFL season is here, and FanDuel is making sure you're ready for kickoff with a can't-miss offer. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if that bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Right now, again, new customers can bet just $5, and if that bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets. I love using FanDuel because, like I always say, it is so conducive to however you want to bet. Player props, same game parlay, or even live betting. If you want to jump into the action as the game's going on, you can do that on FanDuel. So are you ready to play? Download the FanDuel app now by visiting FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com. Play your game and visit FanDuel.com for your first $5 bet. Back here on Locked On SMU, I'm Grayson Singleton. Remember, subscribe to the channel, click that notification bell so you can be notified whenever we release new content. All right, SMU now is out of the top 25. They were at 17, and then they dropped completely out after losing to Baylor. But all is not totally lost, okay? First of all, SMU is not that far away. They got 26 votes to be in the top 25, which is not the greatest. The first couple of teams that missed were Arizona State, BYU, Georgia Tech, Florida, USC, TCU, Mississippi State, Louisville, SMU. Arizona State, I've got trepidation about. BYU, we'll see. Georgia Tech, I think, is a player. Florida just looks like they're about to crater. USC, not high on them. TCU will play SMU in 2 weeks. Mississippi State looks like they could be something, but they're not going to be that great. Louisville, you'll play them too. So the road to getting back to the top 25 is very much alive. Very much alive here. However, because college football is such a trendy thing, the margin for error now for SMU is, quite frankly, pretty slim. And of course it would be. Remember, the college football playoff rankings don't deviate too much from the AP rankings. So where you are in the AP rankings when it's time to release the college football playoff rankings kind of matters. It really, really matters. So you don't want to fall too far out of the action before the first CFP rankings are released. Otherwise, you are relegated to having to, control the controllables to get into the college football playoff, which ultimately that is winning your conference championship. So if you want to keep the window open for you being able to lose the conference championship or just be on the outside looking in, the margin for error is almost non-existent. They have to win out. And if they lose, maybe it's to a Miami team that's ranked number 4 in the country at that particular moment in time. But you got to handle your business. You can't lose to TCU. Because here's the thing with games like TCU and Louisville especially. Those are resume-enhancing games. And Louisville, even though they're not ranked, TCU even though they're not ranked, are going to be opponents that people respect. They've got quarterbacks that garnered their own level of respect, Josh Hoover more so than Miller Moss. But when it comes time to beat the good teams, you just can't lay an egg. The defense cannot be non-existent in the second half again. Colin Rogers, man, when it gets close to crunch time and you're either extending a lead or making it a 2-score lead or tying a game or winning a game, got to make those kicks. They have to. And, you can't be scared to go after quarterbacks. You just can't do it again. So the problems that they had through the first 2 weeks, because they had problems in game 1 too, they got to be corrected pronto. They have to be corrected as soon as possible, because now that you've lost that one non-con game that could have enhanced your resume, your chances for enhancing your resume are still very slim. And by the way, keep this in mind too. The College Football Playoff Committee is punishing teams more harshly for losing to teams that aren't seen as very good. Baylor right now, remember I mentioned the teams that were ahead of SMU in terms of others receiving votes. Baylor received less votes for the top 25 than SMU did. As a matter of fact, 19 fewer than SMU did. SMU received 26 votes. Baylor received 7. Not great. It's not a good loss, especially in the perception of, the already present perception of the national media. Like that's what this is telling you. Now, if Baylor ends up being the team that wins the Big 12, obviously Iowa State, who's off to a really good start, would have something to say about that. But if Baylor ends up winning the Big 12 or in the Big 12 championship, okay, maybe that loss down the line looks a little bit more respectable. But right now, you did yourself absolutely zero favors losing that game. None. And look, gone are the days of undefeated national champions. I quite frankly think that gone are the days of multiple teams being in the college football playoff that are unbeaten. I think those days are gone too. So you're almost in a situation where you've used your one comfortable mulligan. As a matter of fact, I'll say it. You are in a situation, not almost are in a situation. You are in a situation where you already used your one comfortable mulligan. Now, luckily for SMU fans, that also happened in 2024. That is true. But then they ran the table against a much, much weaker schedule. They have to get significantly better now. Otherwise, your road to the college football playoff it's pretty narrow right now. Don't get me wrong, it is pretty narrow, but it gets even more condensed if you drop another game. If they drop the TCU game, you have to win the ACC championship. Otherwise, you're playing in the Pop-Tart Bowl or the ReliaQuest Bowl. One of those first 5 out type of bowls. That's what you're going to be playing in if you lose to TCU. So, still got to take it one day at a time. We're going to talk about the Missouri State game here in about a minute or so. Still got to take it one game at a time. But there cannot be another non-conference loss. And right now, your best bet is to run the table through the ACC schedule. That's your best bet right now. Because otherwise, it's going to be real, real dicey for how you get back to the college football playoff after dropping this game to a Baylor team that not a lot of people thought a whole lot of. Coming up next, let's look ahead to the Missouri game. What do I think SMU needs to do? I got 2 things for the mentality and the mindset of this game upcoming. We'll talk about it to close up shop on a Tuesday. College football is back, and it's already been that much more exciting. The tailgates, the rivalries, the energy in the stands, there's just nothing like it. But let's be real. Actually getting tickets can feel like more of a battle than the game it does itself. Endless queues, hidden fees, prices jumping at checkout. But that's why I use Game Time, the app that gives the advantage back to you, the fans. It's the easiest way to score last-minute tickets at the best prices with none of the surprise fees. What you see is going to be what you pay. The app makes it super simple. I can even see my exact view from my seat before buying. My favorite part of the app is that I can see what the view is going to look like from the seat that I'm buying before I buy the ticket. So take the guesswork out of buying college football tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCOLLEGE for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, that's promo code LOCKEDONCOLLEGE for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Download the Game Time app today. One more segment here. Let's close up shop here on Locked On SMU on a Tuesday. Okay, let's take a look at the Missouri State game. And we haven't talked about it yet. We didn't talk about it on Monday. We haven't talked about it through the first two segments. Let's talk about it. What should be the mindset of SMU heading into this game against a Missouri State team that is not going to, excite anybody, but has a lot of value? This game has a ton of value. And I've got 2 points, 2 reasons why. Number one, it should be about owning your good. And what do I mean by that? SMU has shown a lot of good. There is a lot of good things about this team. Do not let a 48-45 win or loss dictate your feelings about this, that this is like some just scrub team. It's not. Kevin Jennings looks comfortable and in command of the offense. The running game is excellent. This is an excellent running game. TJ Harden rushed for 6 yards a carry. That is excellent. Chris Johnson Jr. has some speed, has some versatility. The wide receivers are making plays, even on badly thrown balls. They're making plays, coming back to the ball, and they're explosive after the catch. Your offensive line is really good. Your offensive line in the running game is really good. As a pass protection, they're getting better, and I think they're going to continue to get better, okay? So you have a lot of good. What else is good? Your defensive line is good. Your defensive line is good, and in terms of stopping the run, which is the first key to making an offense one-dimensional, you got to stop the run. You've got linebackers who excel at playing aggressively downhill, and they're complemented by safeties who can do the same. So lean into that. Continue to get better and get in more flow and get in more rhythm with your offense. Continue to stack days for your offensive line. Just keep getting better every single day. I know the pass pro, especially on the left side, looked kind of suspect against East Texas A&M. Continue to get better. You've got your quarterback who's mobile, so he can help you out a little bit, but continue to own that. Continue to make impressions in the run game. Wide receivers continue to get comfortable in your new roles with Jordan Hudson banged up. RJ Maryland, continue to work back from an injury, right? Matthew Hibner, continue to be comfortable, as a starting tight end. And D-line, continue to do your thing. If we see another game, and Missouri State's better than East Texas A&M, but if the defensive line for SMU dominates against Missouri State, I'm feeling good about that unit going into conference play. So the first thing you want to do in this game is continue to own your good. Continue to build confidence in that. Continue to solidify the fact that, yes, these are going to be our strong points. And the second thing, I just mentioned it, is gain confidence. All right? Alex Kilgore, we don't know when he's coming back. Sky Barker didn't play. So you've got guys like Brandon Maizano and Justin Medlock, Booker's in there. You've got corners rotating. There's a lot of unknown, especially on the defense. Right? Because of some of it necessitated by injury, some of it just being new. Gain some confidence. See some good things happen. And my best example I can give you of this from this past weekend in college football is Texas. So Arch Manning comes off of the, pretty rough first game at Ohio State. But then against San Jose State, throws 4 or 5 touchdowns, right? And after the game, he just said it just felt good to play my game again. That's confidence. That's confidence in your system. That's confidence in the player around you. That's confidence with your coaches, right? these games are not meaningless. I know that there's a talent discrepancy between SMU and Missouri State, but go out and use it. Go out and actually figure out and actually be able to realize what you can do. And if you can gain that confidence, and I'll tell you what else, comfort as well, some of those players that are being forced to play in bigger roles than they otherwise thought are going to look more confident doing it when SMU goes to Fort Worth to take on TCU. That is the type of translation that can occur when you just lean into what you're good at, and then in the spots where you're not, get some confidence. Get Speedy Nettles some confidence on the outside, opposite of Deuce Harmon. Get Lamadrick Spencer and Jaden Milner-Jones at that nickel spot. Just see him do some good things, right? Continue to tweak. Continue to find out what's working good, better, best, right? Because that's how you're going to be the most confident in yourself and know what you're good at and know the extent of what you can do before you go play, after this week, a run of really good Power 4 teams. After this week, it's TCU and then Syracuse. We're off and running in conference play. This is your last tune-up. So the two things that you got to be able to do: own your good. Make sure you solidify the stuff that you're good at. Continue to do it. Continue to go out and make plays. And then gain some confidence in the units where you're not so good. You can do that against Missouri State. Get out of there with a double-digit win. We're feeling a lot better going into TCU after the Baylor loss. All right, good stuff today. All right. Thanks so much for watching. Thanks for making us your first listen of the day here on Locked On SMU. Real quickly, because I got to tell you about this big moment that's been going on with us here at Locked On. Locked On and Fire TV present College Football Kickoff, your ultimate college football weekly preview, hosted by Locked On Big 12 Drake Toll. Gary Patterson, speaking of TCU, joins him along with Jesse Holly and Locked On's local experts. It's a college football preview only Locked On can do. Catch College Football Kickoff every Thursday throughout the season, and it's only on Fire TV. We will talk to you tomorrow as we continue to prepare for Missouri State. Take it easy, everybody. We'll see you next time.